Just had to update the stream info because I forgot to. So we are gonna be streaming, as is obvious. Oh wait, intro. Good afternoon and salutations. My name is Calypso, aka Mint Carousel, and welcome to the stream. We're gonna do a quick, a quick stream, just 1 hour of Fatal 12, which means I'm gonna try to get going as fast as possible. Well, like, I mean, I just need to give myself a little bit more time to get ready to go, because I'm traveling today, and I just need to give myself more time than the 2 hours normal stream duration would allow me. So I might go like an hour 15, hour 10, probably not hour 30. Yeah, anyway, also one thing before we start, and this means we'll probably we'll go a little bit over an hour, because I'm still talking and not playing the game, it turns out, okay, having to split the stream into the 2 hour stream into 2 1 hour segments to upload to YouTube, like, actually splitting the video was fairly easy. I figured it out really quickly, but actually rendering it and getting it to upload and not fail all the time was really difficult, and I don't know what's going wrong. Like, is it because I had other things going? Does it have to? It's probably that, huh? But that's kind of annoying because I want to do other things on my computer. I like my computer. I like doing things on it. But anyway, it's too much of a hassle. So next week I will be doing it the easier way, and like at the hour cutoff, at the 1 hour mark of each stream, I will stop and restart the stream so that it can be in different video things in the video producer tab on Twitch, so I can export them to YouTube independently. And so it'll be sort of like an easier watch, like you can just watch that 1 hour thing. So yesterday's stream, the whole 2 hour stream, is on YouTube now. And this is gonna have to be the last 2 hour thing I put out. That's not a video essay, because I might do that in the future, but maybe. Oh my god, 2 hours. See, I can handle watching something for 2 hours, but I don't know about other people. So anyway, let's get going. Okay. Set you over there. Great. My headphones are not feeling right. Okay. No, continue. I take a deep breath and get ready to tell her all about divine selection.
じゃあ、どこから話せばいいんだろう。まあいいや。信じられないような話なんだけど。
Oh, okay.
リンカ。
Uh-huh.
先輩。
She utters my name in a painful manner once I finish telling her everything. She started to get teary-eyed midway, but I kept going. I doubt she would want me to stop without painting her the whole picture. She nodded attentively from beginning to end, as if to assure me that the decision to tell her was the right one.
絶対変だと思ったんです。あの本の話をした日、先輩は英語が全然できないはずなのに、英語で会話をしてたんですもん。先輩は生きて、絶対に生きているのに。
Saying that, she takes my hand in hers. The surface of her hand is cold, but I can feel her warmth underneath. There's no doubt the same goes for me. That warmth serves as proof that I'm alive.
私は生きてる。でも、どうやらこっちが間違っているみたいなんだ。私、先輩が何を抱えてるかなんて知らずに、勝手なことを言ってました。仕方がないよ。だって話してなかったから。
She doesn't doubt what I have to say for a second. Chances are that my cause of death lines up with her dream, so much that she has no choice but to believe it. It gives her an answer as to why she's having that dream too, although it does nothing to resolve the situation at hand.
しかも、三島先輩も同じ状況だなんて。
I wasn't sure whether or not I should tell her about Miharu, but I decided to do so in the end. On the one hand, there's no point in trying to keep certain things to myself. On the other hand, I simply gave in to my desire to lighten my own burden.
それに、三島先輩はそんなことを言ってたんですね。
She's referring to Miharu's statement regarding her own participation, that she's willing to give her life for mine.
三島先輩みたいなこと、私だったら言えないです。私もそうだよ。美晴に死んでほしくない。でも自分が死ぬのも怖い。だから美晴を最後の一人にするために潔く死ぬなんて言えない。
Something's off about, like, I hope this game unpacks her willingness to die for Rinka, and then it's not like, this isn't like a selfless act of love. This is like self-hate kind of thing. That's the, like, I mean, I guess I'm just hoping, or not hoping, but like that's where I want the story to go, you know? We're not lauding this decision that Miharu is making here. That I want to make that clear. But I don't know what the game's stance on it is.
自分がどうすればいいのか正解がわからないまま、もう2週間も経っちゃった。仕方がないと思います。
Oh, whoops. Okay. Another breeze blows through, catching our hair. It's a surprisingly cold breeze for this time of year. I can see the sunset off in the distance. The mixture of blue and orange on the horizon somehow resembles a wavering heart to me.
三島先輩は強いですね。うん、そうだね。
She's the complete opposite of me. She knows exactly what she wants to do, whereas I'm sitting here unable to make any sort of decision. She might have already gotten started on gathering info based on the cards she received. In fact, I'm certain she has. The determination in her eyes makes it apparent. Her attitude at school isn't any different from usual, but that's just further proof of her resolve. There's no doubt she's doing as much research as she can elsewhere. And she's doing it all for my sake. I'd say that all the time she's been spending at work lately was just a front for said research, but that'd be overthinking things. That's something that she's been doing for a while now. Excuse me.
聞いてくれてありがとね。少し気が楽になったよ。
Oh my. Gotta adjust my headset. Okay.
どうすればいいのかなんてまだわからないけど、しばらくはまたこのまま過ごしてみる。
Saying that, I get off the bench. Or I try to, but Naomi stops me by grabbing my sleeve.
あと5分だけ待ってください。私
Oh, whoops.
決めた
Damn it.
こと？
She nods firmly in response. Yeah.
私リンカ先輩を支えたいです。
I called it! Look at that background. We're not seeing much of it, because I know the characters would take front and center, but I knew we were gonna get like a really beautiful background in some sort of like special shot like this, because we went outside instead of going to Lion House. Ah, yay!
このままじゃ絶対ダメです。リンカ先輩の気持ちにはなれないけれど、私の無責任な意見かもしれないですけれど。
In this music? Uh-huh.
逃げてるだけじゃいけないと思います。逃げてるだけ。
It's not that I'm struggling to make a choice. I'm simply avoiding it altogether. Naomi makes sure to be as frank as possible with her words, and they turn my entire world upside down. The reality that I've been running from, my responsibility to choose whether I'll live or die, finally sinks in. Before I know it, the sky has been dyed entirely in orange.
調べ物くらいなら私は手伝います。顔が知られていないから参加者に直接会うこともできます。何より先輩が一人じゃ支えきれないものを一緒に背負うこともできます。
Her words are filled to bursting with resolve.
最後の瞬間には先輩たちのどちらかが生き残るのか悩まないといけないかもしれません。でも今のままじゃきっとその前に。
Definitely for sure.
ねえ、ナオミ。私も今さら自覚しちゃった気持ちがあるんだ。
She turns to face me, waiting for my follow-up comment. Having the truth put in front of me like that makes me realize what I'm most afraid of.
私、怖いんだ。このまま生き残るには、見張るだけじゃなくて、他の人も脱落させないといけない。
Yeah.
自分が人の命を踏み台にしてまで生きるべき存在かなんて、わからないんだ。 自分の未練さえ曖昧なままだし。
I've seen the expressions of those who are mere moments away from being elected. I wouldn't describe them as sad, angry, or even accepting. They simply looked powerless in the face of what was about to happen. Those were the faces of people who died without being able to fulfill what they wanted out of life. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if I have that much invested into anything to begin with. That's why part of me feels like my life isn't worth being saved in exchange for theirs. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, this game is definitely about that. If the protagonist is thinking this early into the game, I guess we are still early. What, that's 5 hours in? Then she has to learn the opposite. I mean, also because this is a horrible thing to say about yourself.
三島先輩や私がリンカ先輩に生きていてほしいって気持ちじゃ足りませんか？
You're loved.
私だって他の人を脱落させて生きることが正しいかどうかは分かりません。でも先輩が死んじゃうなんて絶対に嫌なんです。
I think morality is out the window in this case. There's nothing Rinka or any of them can do about this. Just value your own life.
だからもし他の人を脱落させることが罪だとするなら それを背負うのが怖いなら私に半分分けてください。
I'd kill for you. Please ask me to kill for you.
ナオミ、どうしてそこまで言ってくれるの？
Huh, yeah. Why, Naomi? Why would she go this far for my sake? I guess we'll never know.
本来の運命で先輩は自分の命よりも私を優先してくれた。口で軽々しく言えないだけで先輩はきっとそういう人なんです。でもそんなの関係ないです。リンカ先輩だから。他に理由は思いつきません。あれ、おかしいな。どうしてミダが。これはその違うんです。
Oh, characters crying in a scene that actually resonates with an audience emotionally gets me, but when they ask why they're crying, ugh. Okay. She turns her gaze towards the sky, desperately trying to fight back the tears that are ready to fall at any moment. It's a weird time to have a thought like this, but I can't help but consider just how vast the sky truly is. Naomi has nothing but praise for the coffee I make. She's made me realize that I'm avoiding reality. That, and a number of other important things.
危ないことはしないでね。
The tears have started to stream down her face by the time I say that.
私はこの期間、船底からの脱落以外で死んじゃうことはないらしいけど、ナオミは違う。だから、危険なことはなし。
Unable to get the words out, she bites her lower lip and nods her head.
その上で、私からお願いさせて。女神の船底で、私が脱落しないように協力してください。
先輩、なんで敬語なんですか
？Wait, am I muted? I'm not muted. Okay. I extend my right hand to her, which she takes. Her nervousness melts away with the beaming smile that she gives me afterwards. Her tear-stained cheeks serve as a nice contrast to that.
泣き虫だね、ナオミは。
先輩もこういう時は泣いていいんですよ。
からかわないでよ、もう。
Her tears don't stop flowing, even though she's all smiles. Just then, the announcement comes that it is almost time for the park to close for the day. I take the opportunity to tell Naomi that I'll see her tomorrow, and then I make my way home. When I get back, I open up Lionhouse for a bit. After messaging Naomi during break time, I decide to keep the store closed tomorrow so we can focus on gathering intel and organizing our thoughts. I figure hitting up the library will be a good idea, since we'll have access to newspapers and the like, but considering I still don't know where to start, I decide it's best for us to meet up there first. We don't need to worry about keeping quiet there, at least. I also make sure to ask Naomi not to tell anyone else about this. Part of me considers telling Mao at first since we're close friends, but considering she's known Miharu for far longer than Naomi, I decide it's best not to. It'd be far too much of a burden for her to bear. Last thing I want is to ruin the relationship the three of us have right now. Thinking back on everything that's happened so far, I get ready to close shop for the day. Barely any customers have come around, so I only have to clean up a few things. I clean up those things, carry in the signboard, and some plants from outside, and put out the trash. The door looks a bit dirty too, so I make sure to wipe it down. While I'm wiping it, I hear footsteps heading my way. I don't pay that much mind, considering it's not rare for people to pass by at this time of night. They stop right in front of the store.
もう閉店で
Alright, place your bets. Who is it? Thinking it is a customer, I turn around to inform them that we're closed. God, what if it's the Italian guy or Odette? What the fuck's that? Federico? But I stopped mid-sentence when I see the woman to whom the footsteps belong. The moment I stand up straight, she grabs me by the shoulders and pushes me against the door, and then into the store. Hey! Hey! You're new, okay. Her words come out loud and rapid. Her voice sounds like her throat is ready to explode. Her first impression makes her seem desperate, but I'd see she's more anxious than anything else. That's why her shouting actually helps me approach the situation with heightened composure.
あなた8の人ですね
8, okay. Rather than answering her question, I opt to shoot one right back at her. Don't know her name, but I recognize the face. She's one of the people I've seen in the dream world. Whoops. Composed as I may seem, is not enough to keep my nerves calm. I can feel myself working up a cold sweat. Even the most minor thing here could act as a hint for her, so I need to watch what I say. She slams her hand against the door, closing the distance between us even more. And yet, I'm not afraid. Mainly because I keep in mind why she's so anxious in the first place. The only reason she's asking me is because she's not entirely sure that I am who she thinks I am. Meanwhile, numeral 12 gained her name. I'm trying to speak in her voice as she's the narrator right now, like her inner thoughts in her voice as I understand it, but the the way I have to stop and pause and parse what the fuck this Roman numerals mean is numeral 12 gained her name card from the woman who eliminated during the first round, if memory serves.
答えなさいよ。私はあなたのカードを持っているの。だからあなたが姉妹リンカだってことは知ってるのよ。
I don't doubt that I'd be panicking if this was numeral 11 or 12 asking, but it's the same dread I feel from competing with people like them that allows me to remain calm here and now. Compared to them, looks like your average woman. Slender and pretty, although you can tell she looks overtired. There's no doubt she's been getting little sleep. I'll bet. She's wearing what I believe is a shawl atop a hospital gown.
ねえ、あなたの死因は何？未来は何？
Oh, you don't know how to... My silence makes her all the more agitated.
自殺？病気？進学？恋愛？何よ？
God.
ちょっと落ち着いてください
My patient starts to wear thin, which caused me to place my hands on her shoulders and shove her away from me. I must have pushed her a bit too hard since she stumbles backward. She falls and lands on the hard concrete.
ごめんなさい
I apologize without thinking. Showing sympathy to other participants, my enemies in other words, probably isn't the best idea.
大丈夫ですか
Can't help myself. I ask, but receive no answer. All she does is stare down at the ground and mutter something to herself.
私が
Following that, she collapses under her own weight.
大丈夫ですか救急車
大丈夫だから救急車いや帰れますから
いやだって明らかに大丈夫じゃないですし
救急車は
Her sentence trails off there. Judging by her steady breathing, she seems to have fallen asleep as opposed to have passed out. I spot the name of the hospital she was admitted to written on the hem of her gown. It's only a 10-minute walk from here.
ああもう
Why do I feel like I've heard that phrase written in anime as, I guess it can't be helped? Shikasuki.
ああ、もう仕方ないか。
I can't get it. Okay. She doesn't want to get in an ambulance for whatever reason, but I can't just leave her here. Fortunately, she's rather light, so I have to give her a piggyback ride.
思ったよりきついな。
After I lock the store up, I proceed to the hospital. Oh. Ha. When I arrive, wait, did I okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I am unmuted. Okay, good. When I arrive, the nurse I speak to showers me with praise. It's hardly surprising. I think most people would praise a high schooler who has obviously exhausted herself by carrying a patient all the way to a hospital in the middle of the night. Did I read hospital patient, or hospital wasn't on here? Or he wasn't here? Huh, okay. The nurse wastes no time in taking her away, so I guess she really is a patient here. Thanks to this, I managed to learn her name as well. Kamebuchi Keiko. While she's always had a frail disposition, things have gotten worse for her once she gave birth. I don't pry any deeper, but I doubt they would have told me much more. The only reason they told me as much as they did was to make sure I knew who it was that I helped out in the first place.
そういえばカードって。
Huh. Parka mentioned that we'd obtain new cards whenever we discovered vital pieces of information in the real world.
そっか、本。
Yeah. Chances are I didn't get one because I don't have it with me. I'm aware of its importance, but I tend to leave it behind since it's heavy. Either way, I should leave, considering visiting hours have long passed. Curious as I am about Keiko, I make my way home. Or back home? Oh. Once I return to my room and get ready for bed, I take a seat at the table on which my book rests.
なんか光ってるんだけど。
I guess So, the first 2 weeks when Rinka was indecisive about doing anything about Divine Selection, we took the time, those 2 weeks, took the time to watch what Federico and Odette are doing, because Rinka is not really doing anything, so the story is going to move to what I'm pretty sure are the antagonists. Or, I mean, I guess the situation is the antagonist, but they're like secondary antagonists, or in some way. Something like that. Little bits of light are pouring out from between the book's pages. Needless to say, this is the first time I've seen this happen, in the real world no less. I take a moment to prepare myself, and then I open it up. The moment I do, the light begins to rise above the book itself.
ちょっと。
All I can do is watch as it eventually congregates to one spot almost 2 feet above my table. It eventually molds itself into a rectangular shape, well, to be more specific, the shape of a card. Once the transformation is complete, the light dissipates. The card floats in midair for a brief moment before it quietly lays itself to rest atop the book.
こうやって作られるんだ。カード。
I can't hide my surprise over witnessing something like that happening in the real world. Something similar happened in the dream world, but it's a whole different experience when it happens in your own room. I pick up... Oh my god. Excuse me. I pick up the newly formed card. It's exactly the same as the others I have, in terms of shape and make. The only difference is the content written on it. 8. Name, Kamebuchi Keiko. As expected, it's Keiko's name card. That's all, though. I still don't know her cause of death or regret. Did she die in child?
出産してから
No,
入
she
院した
didn't.
って言ってたよ
It
ね。
sounded like it was
だったら
a while ago. Right, but how long ago was that? Actually, it might be recent, so Died in childbirth? It has to be related to that. The first ailment that comes to mind from childbirth is... My head starts to hurt all of a sudden. It doesn't take long for me to realize why, either. It's because I just remembered how desperate Keiko looked. The way she was acting earlier proved that her regret ran deeper than I could comprehend. What I'm doing right now is akin to walking all over that. The more I try to imagine the circumstances of her death, the worse the pounding in my head becomes. That's when I remember Naomi's proposition to shoulder the burden along with me. I'm not prepared to handle this alone quite yet. Today's done a good job of showing me just how weak I am. Rather than thinking about this anymore, I turn my light off and choose to sleep instead.
Oh, Sarita.
Maybe it's a good thing you don't know what's going on, Mao. You're too precious. Okay.
Mao, ohayo.
I noticed Miharu getting ready for classes as usual when I arrived at school. Oh, you noticed Miharu, huh? Seeing her reminds me of a realization I come to yesterday, which prompts me to say something odd to Mao.
Miharu ってさ、強いよね。
ミハルンが？逆だよ。
That's funny. I completely buy. No, I don't like that turn of phrase. I completely understand how each of these two characters, based on what they know and how they interact with Miharu, would say the exact opposite things about her, and also they're both like right. Her voice and tone are lower than usual. Was I about to say usualer? Usualer.
じゃ、今日も一日頑張りましょう。
She returns to her usual self right away, almost as if to avoid continuing on with that topic. Oh, that's gonna pick up, isn't it? Okay. Once school has ended, I meet up with Naomi before heading over to the library, on our way back to Lion House. Fortunately, the library is only 5 minutes from Lion House, and on the very same path they took to get to the hospital last night. I make sure to fill her in on what happened last night as we make our way there. Her first reaction is to express her concern about me. She crinkles her nose when I mention that Keiko seems to have had a rougher go at life than I have, then sighs in relief afterwards. Once at the library, we gather up some books regarding pregnancy. Part of me doesn't want to at first, so we'll be painting a rather dubious image of ourselves. Then again, this isn't the time to be worried about that. Having gotten what we need, we next make our way back to Lion House and spread the books out on one of the tables.
じゃあ、この本でまずは死因になりそうな病気や症例がないかを調べてみましょう。
She announces the plan with seemingly little issue. I can tell she's forcing herself to act composed. Normal people like us shouldn't have any reason to investigate someone's death like this. It doesn't help that it feels like we're digging into someone's private life without consent. That's one of the reasons behind my headache last night. And to mention that, in this case, it's about someone who's still alive. I pick up one of the books closest to me. While thinner than the card book, it's packed full of text. I probably shouldn't try my hand at a book like this when I know absolutely nothing about medicine. Thinking that, I pick up another one, only to reach the same conclusion. The only stuff I read other than manga or novels, so ideally there'll be something a bit simpler among all these. As I think this over, it leads to me repeating the same scenario over and over in my mind.
先輩?
え、どうしたの?
She's like, opens a book. Nope. Opens another book. Nope.
もしかして本苦手ですか?
Hi, I'm Rinka, age 19, and I've never learned how to read. She's using the book in her hands to obscure her face from below her eyes, which are glued to me.
苦手ってわけじゃないんだけど
Oh no.
難しくない？
そう思ってたら言ってくださいよ。もう少し簡単な本もありそうでしたからそっちも借りてきたのに。
That makes it pretty clear that I left Naomi in charge of picking out which books to get. I figured that that'd be best considering she's a bit of a bookworm.
先輩ってやっぱり勉強は苦手です？
Nah. I nodded my head after a brief hesitation. I wouldn't say I'm bad at studying, but there's no point in putting up a front, especially when my grades tell a different story.
でも頑張ってみる。自分のことだもんね。
I pick up another book and peruse the table of contents. Naomi hides part of her face behind her book again, but I can see how focused her eyes are on its contents. Two hours later, I feel my concentration vanish into thin air. Yeah, I've been there.
ちょっと休憩しよっか。
She can go for...
ナオミさん？
何ですか？
She hyper-focused. I'm just gonna say it that. I'm just gonna call it that. She hyper-focused. She was in the zone.
すごい集中力だね。ちょっと休憩しよっか。
はい、そうですね。
She closes her book after I make my offer. I guess she's finished reading that one too, which makes for a total of 3 so far. Meanwhile, I'm still stumbling through my first. The difference in reading speeds between someone who reads often and someone who doesn't is rather striking. I brew up some coffee for the both of us and bring it over to the table.
ありがとうございます。そういえば久しぶりな気がします。先輩のコーヒー。
あ、そうかもね。
I spent so much time teaching her how to make coffee that I actually haven't had much opportunity to make some for her myself. It's always nice watching Naomi drink the coffee I make, considering how much she seems to enjoy it.
それでさ、何か分かったことある？
I have picked up on something myself in truth, but asking for Naomi's input first seems like the best idea. Always defer to other people. Thinks, oh, this other person is definitely better at this than I am. Is my life even really worth saving? There's a lot of little things here. This is a very well-constructed character. I really like it. This is a really good game. This is a really good story.
はい。まず分かったのは、妊婦さんの出産時の死亡率はすごく低いってことですね。
I wonder if that's global or just in Japan that they're looking at. The book I've been reading says the same thing. Based on a study from 2014, only 3 out of 100,000 mothers died while giving birth. I'd assume Keiko was in her 20s or 30s. Even if it's the latter, there's only a 0.003% chance of it happening to her. For comparison's sake, a person's much more likely to be involved in some sort of fatal traffic accident than that. Oh, well, yeah. This stuff actually caught my attention while reading because it'll be relevant to me at some point in my future. Seems like Naomi read about the same study. You'd think we were revising test materials together or something.
でも、それだけ例が少ないなら、原因の予想がつきやすいんじゃないのかな。
私もそう思います。ただ気になっているのは、どこまで詳細な情報がカード化するのに必要なのかなってことです。
私が持っている死因のカードに書かれているのが焼死ってだけだから、きっとそれくらいのざっくりさでいいんだと思う。
なるほど。でも先輩の話だと概念が実存になるって言ってましたよね。
私もよく意味が分かってないんだけどさ。
だとすれば情報がカードになるというのは先輩がちゃんと概念として情報を持っていないといけないと思うんです。
Alright, honestly, I don't know how she could possibly have come to that conclusion, except that the writers need Naomi to know this, because it's kind of inconvenient for these characters to not know that when Federico and Odette, like, this is one of the things that someone could nitpick the game for, but I will not allow it. It is fine. Now the conversation's getting a bit complicated. I'd take a moment to mentally sort out all the info. The process behind making new cards involves giving information. Thoughts, rather, a tangible form. Parker explained that much herself. How does one distinguish which piece of information is correct and turn that into a card then?
すみません、わかりにくい言い方になっちゃいまし
Maybe
た。
they've thought of this actually.
先輩の中で論理的に行き着いた結論なのかって意味です。つまり先輩が日常会話の中で何気なく言ったことでも誰かの死因や未練に該当していたらカードになるのか。
The whole thing about being certain something is like true. I literally always have just this little bit of doubt in everything that I think unless I know something for a fact. Like, I can't understand how someone could believe something without knowing it for a fact. That just doesn't make sense to me. So if something isn't like a fact of reality, like, how are you 100% sure about it? Like, I don't know. Basically, if I were in this death game, I would have to find out all my information for certain and not guess. But like how to explain this? Let's continue.
それとも例えばこの人はいつ症状が悪化したから死因はこれだろう、
Huh.
証拠みたいなものを先輩が把握していないといけないのかってことです。
I mean, it is called the Court of Fate. What if in like a criminal trial, like, law enforcement rounds up like every suspect and they have to do like an adversarial trial against each? That's dumb. That would be horrible, horrifying. So it's perfect for a legal system.
そっか、なるほどね。
Remember, when making a legal system for your world building project, make sure to devise up the most horrific and oppressive system that hurts as many people as possible, and then you're good. I cast my mind back to these past 2 weeks. Make sure they're also it's also incredibly obtuse, confusing, and I guess that's the same thing twice. It's the same thing twice. And I already forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, I cast my mind back to these past 2 weeks. I'm not the most chatty person, but I've definitely had a good number of conversations during that time. Chances are good that I've discussed things related to relevant information, so by that logic, I should have some extra cards already. And yet, yesterday was the first time I obtained a new card. In that case, it's probably the latter scenario that's required in order to make new cards.
やっぱりそうですよね。極端な話ですけれど、辞書を最初から最後まで読めば、大体の人は死因も未練も手に入れられることになっちゃいますもんね。
Huh. Massive loophole. If they could do that, yeah. Okay, so it wasn't even something they could nitpick for. So now I'm just gonna say that it's something someone could nitpick for, disingenuously, or disingenuously. How do words work? I'm literally a linguist. How do words work? Although nitpicking itself is
あんまりやりたくないけどね。
anyway. Yeah.
命がかかっているならやるかもしれません。
that serves to remind me about how desperate Keiko looked. I could tell she had a specific force driving her. Knowing that, chances are high that she had read through all kinds of stuff as she meant possibly obtaining more cards.
それに先輩の死因のカードが作られないのも同じ原因かもしれません。先輩の曖昧な記憶や私のぼんやりした夢の他にもっと何かが。
So in the end, it's all up to me remembering the exact details of what happened that day. I can't see myself doing that today, at least. The fact that it's yet to come back to me probably means I need to something specific to trigger my memories. The keychain. Maybe she's gonna see the keychain in it. That's the trigger. That's my guess. I pushed those thoughts away and now made back to the topic at hand.
そうですね。私の意見ですけれど、一般的な失血死というのが妊婦さんの亀渕さんの死因である可能性が高いと思います。
God, are they actually gonna go after Keiko in the third on the third week? That would be usually like it's gonna like they could have just had Rinka not do anything until she had to basically had to kill Miharu, but they're actually going for it and like just getting this out. Ooh.
でもそれじゃあ足りないんだね。どうしてそうなのか、理由や筋道を私がちゃんと理解していないといけない。
Yeah. The lack of any new card materializing proves that.
ここで調べてるだけだと足りなそうですね。
私がお見舞いに行ったら、まあ拒否されちゃうよね。
He could be like, "Hey, I'm back. I'm still kind of concerned about Miss I forgot. Wait. Miss Shishimai. Wait, no, Kamabuchi. That's Protagonist's name. Dumb. Kamabuchi-san. I'm well aware of how much my hair causes me to stand out.
どうしました？
休憩するって言ってたけど、彼じゃ休憩にならないね。でもさ、ナオミ、頼りになるね。
Actually, this happens to me if I'm studying something on my own. Like that's pretty hard, and I can't do it for a long time. But sometimes I have found myself like needing to take a break from like studying by myself. But then I turn to talk about what I was studying with someone else, and I can talk about it for like way longer. Oh. Huh. I think I just realized I could have made my school a lot simpler. Oh well, okay. Anyway.
それならよかったです。
I say that, but I can tell she's pushing herself pretty hard. It's clear from the way she's speaking that she's more nervous than usual. The same goes for me as well. There's no way we could have a happy chat about someone's possible cause of death. However, I'm not getting a headache like when I try to do this on my own. Her being there to shoulder part of my burden really does make things easier to bear. Yeah? Now, the issue is how we go about digging deeper.
私、お菓子持ってきたんでした。今日は手作りじゃないですけど。
Saying that, she produces some chocolate, which I happily partake of. The sweet sensation that spreads throughout my body is almost enough to make me shiver with joy. Chocolate be like that, huh?
しみるね。
Yeah.
脳の栄養は糖分って言いますもんね。私が勉強してるとお母さんがよく。
どうしたの？
単純なことでした。私が恵子さんの家族に会えばいいんです。
ナオミがそれって危ないことじゃない？
はい。でも私が会いに行く分には本人ならともかく家族ならなんとかごまかせるかもしれません。先輩が恵子さんを病院に運んだ件があるので念のため制服は着ないで行きます。
I wonder when paranoia is gonna set in. Like, when Rinka realized, because I don't think she's like fully realized that someone could possibly tail her, and like, and Rinka starts to be like, okay, hold on, I have to be totally, completely aware of my surroundings at all times, don't I? And like that, I wonder if we're gonna do anything with that.
でもさ、口止めとかされてるんじゃないの？
夢の世界の話って大人がそのまま大人に話せはしないと思うんです。オブラートに包んだ言い方をしてる。だから完璧じゃない気がします。
She has a point. I had no issue telling her everything, but there's no way I'd tell one of our teachers, for example. I'd probably be fine with telling my grand, but definitely not my parents, if they were around. I think it was double if I were Keiko's age.
危ないことはしません。だから私にやらせてください。
ナオミ、そういう演技できる？
それを言われると。
Does spacebar work? Hold on. It does! She once again tucks her face behind a book, and then pops part of it back out to speak to me after a moment.
でも頑張ります。先輩のためですもん。
ほんと頼もしいね、ナオミは。
問題はいつ行くかですけど、やっぱり土日がいいかなって思います。
どうして？
平日だと家族の人が来るのって夜になると思うんです。遅くなるなら来られないかも。でも土日なら少なくとも旦那さん、お父さんは来ると思うんです。早い方がいいと思うので土曜日に行きます。
わかった。ただ私もついていく。何かあった時に大声を出せば駆けつけられるとこで待ってるから。
She nods her head in response, understanding that I won't back down. We try to discuss other possibilities regarding her death after that, but it basically turns into a study session about pregnancy. After walking Naomi to the train station, I make my way back to Lion House. Alright, I think we're not stopping here. We're gonna do this nighttime, because these are usually pretty short. Well, I hope this one's short. So we're gonna finish this nighttime scene, and then we'll be done for the day. I have to admit, I am surprised by just how fruitful our efforts today have been. It goes to show how little I've been thinking about divine selection before talking to Naomi about it. It's gotten me to question my own life. I still can't say for sure whether or not it's right of me to want to survive. However, I can say with certainty that I don't want to leave my friends and family upset over my death. That's enough motivation for now. I'm sure Keiko has the same resolve pushing her forward. In fact, hers is probably stronger, considering she has a child. And are we sure she has a child? Still. Very possible. Like, I don't think we were confirmed on that. Maybe we are. Maybe I missed it, but... Okay. I was told I lost my parents in an accident almost immediately after I was born, so I'm not too sure what it's like to experience the warmth and love parents can provide. The only thing I have to go on is when my grand spoke to me about my mom. Her expression showed an entirely different kind of love from that she holds for her granddaughter.
考えちゃう。ダメだ。
Yep. The more I consider Keiko in her situation, the more empathy I feel for her. Which makes me think of her even more. What I should be doing right now is casting my emotions aside and gathering as much info on her as possible. Even Naomi is pushing herself to do what she can for my sake. The last thing I want is to let that go to waste.
今すべきことか。
Should be to get some rest. Thus, I crawl into bed and close my eyes. Alright. So we didn't... So... Actually, nah, we're not stopping here. Like, I can't go for a whole nother hour, but we did start late, kind of, and yeah. And I talked a lot in the beginning. So, after school, Naomi and I come back to Lionhouse together again. Keiko never has approached me again after that one night.
ケイコさんも私に名前を知られてるって気がついてるはずだもんね。
はい。亀渕さんも部活に近づくのはリスクが高いってことだと思います。
じゃあ行こう。
I was thinking that if this third Sunday does have Rinka elect someone, that tells every other participant that she's one who's willing to do this. Because in this, there are people who are willing to kill, and there are people who are not. And by doing this, she's painted herself as someone who is willing to kill, or rather let die. But what's the difference? Actually, what is the difference? Tell me in the comments below. This basically has someone who is willing to do this, which might make her a target sooner rather than later. But what else is she supposed to do? That she has to actually participate. It's a very horrifically good game. Like, and I mean the game within the game, not that this is just a... anyway, did I read that? Something about book in the bag and library. Oh well. By the time we reached the lounge, I realized that I never did ask Naomi how she plans on approaching Keiko's family. Even without me there, it doesn't change the fact that she's just a random high schooler to them. I highly doubt they'll be willing to share private information with a stranger like that. Fortunately, the lounge is on the same floor as Keiko's room, so I'll be able to hear Naomi scream should anything go wrong while I wait. She isn't quite as clumsy and shy in front of me anymore. But this is Naomi we're talking about. I can't help but worry about her. I know that she said she'd do her best for my sake, so I'll trust her. I'll trust in her. After some time has passed, a man in his late 30s passes by me. I assume it's Keiko's husband and try to avoid eye contact. I move my gaze to look outside the window, waiting for his footsteps to fade.
Senpai?
Hey, you are in your school clothes. Well, I mean, I guess you just don't have... Well, you do have a sprite for this, don't you? Oh well. Literally doesn't matter. Being approached from behind like that caused me to yelp, but no one seems to pay me much mind. Naomi's voice sounds somewhat gloomy.
おかえり。それでどうだった?
Turns out asking a stranger invasive questions about their wife who's in the hospital, gets you yelled at. Who knew?
緊張しました。でも、分かった情報はどちらかというと、外堀を埋めるようなものに近いです。
Okay, so she knows what she... I knew she was gonna know what she's doing.
確信には触れなかったってこと?
はい。亀渕さんはもともと体が弱くて病気がちだったそうですが、持病は持っていなかったみたいです。ただ、切迫早産の状態が続いていて、最終的には緊急帝王切開で早産だったとのことです。子供も入院が必要な状態らしくて、親子で3週間近く入院しているみたいです。
That overlaps with the timing of divine selection. The books we were reading yesterday mentioned preterm labor and premature birth. But the baby was admitted too. Maybe I'm onto something about the baby dying immediately. That's her regret. Like, yeah. Yeah. Premature birth is when the baby is born before the expected date. Preterm labor is when you enter the first stages of labor earlier than you should. The mother suffers from constant pain and bleeding during this, so she has to be kept as idle and relaxed as possible. I guess things took a turn for the worse, which led her to needing a C-section.
そういえばさ、どうしてそこまで教えてくれたの？
嘘ついちゃいました。
Oh. Her tone is more hushed than usual. She said she was pregnant. It's probably why she seemed a bit gloomy afterwards. Or maybe?
友達が入院していて、
Ah, that's
前に来
better.
るといつも恵子さんがいた。心配していたけど、失礼かもしれ
Yeah,
ない
how would that
か
work
ら
actually?
本人に詳しくは
Dumb.
聞けなかったんですって。近いうちお花を持っていきます。その流れでさっきのことを聞きました。
Yeah.
ナオミ。
She looks like she's ready to cry. She pried information from Keiko's family for the express purpose of eliminating her. Knowing how kind of a person she is, there's no doubt she's beating herself up over it. All I can do is grit my teeth. She did this for my sake, so I can't give her some half-hearted consolation. Figuring it'd be too risky to discuss things further here, we make our way back to Lion House. We dive right into discussing her cause of death upon her return. Do I have... Yeah. I wouldn't call it a bright conversation. Hardly surprising, but both of us make sure not to comment on it. I read yesterday that premature birth and C-sections place a significant strain on the mother as well. She might not have had any notable diseases, but she still had a frail disposition. Two and two together, and...
失血死なのかな？
The book doesn't react. I can't tell if it's because I'm wrong or if it's because I'm not going through the proper process with the correct information. I was pretty confident in that conclusion of discussing things with Naomi, too.
出ませんね。私の予想が間違ってたってことでしょうか。
You said most likely, though. You're still not you still don't have the conviction.
でも持病があるなら家族の人は濁すと思う。ないって言い切ったってことは本当にないんだよ。
I grabbed some of the books we checked out from the library to make sure we haven't missed something. Naomi does the same. I end up coming across something relevant quicker than expected.
もしかしてこれかも。
I point to a page detailing one of the leading causes of death during childbirth. A brain hemorrhage. It's described as being caused by an artery in the brain bursting, which leads to internal bleeding in surrounding areas. Not only does it impact your senses and consciousness, but it can lead to death should a tumor become big enough to put significant stress on the brainstem. The reason this can kill you is that the brainstem regulates the central nervous system, making it one of the most vital parts of your body. Most cases of death during childbirth can typically be traced back to this.
なるほど。これなら筋も。
あ、光ってる。
どこがですか？
My book starts to shine almost immediately after I come across that information. Naomi doesn't seem to be able to see it, so I'll explain what it does when you successfully turn information into a card. The light congregates once again and gives birth. That's an interesting choice of writers. Hello? That's an interesting choice of turn of phrase for the situation. Huh? Very interesting. Gives birth to a new card. Wow. Good. I wonder if the Japanese is similar. If there's a turn of phrase that allows this, basically what's a pun or this wordplay. I wonder if this wordplay is also in Japanese, or if the English localizers, translators, decided to put that in there. This would be funny if it wasn't so horrible.
あ、カード。
guess she can see the card itself when what's written on it, though. Just like the others they possess. I assume it's got something to do with the fact that giving them a physical form means their existence becomes a reality. I place the card on the table so she can read it. Written on it is numeral 8's cause of death, a brain hemorrhage.
これが恵子さんの
Oh, that means Rinka's gonna have to experience this? God, I'm very excited for her to go through a lot of pain. Oh, dear. Did it happen during childbirth? Oh my god! This really, This killed her. She gave birth to a child, only to die of a brain hemorrhage. Is she gonna go through the childbirth? Huh. The fact that the child's in the hospital means that its birth wasn't undone at the beginning of divine selection. Oh. So it was born before. Okay. In that case, it might be safe to assume that Keiko didn't die during the process, but sometime after. I can't say I feel pleased over having made progress, in all honesty. I'd actually say I feel worse now, having learned the circumstances behind her death. Naomi likely feels the same way. I don't think there's any other way to explain the complex facial expressions he's making right now. I have to be the one to break this awkward silence.
このまま彼女の未練を探そう
I notice that I've stopped referring to her by name. The worst thing I can do is let myself feel any attachment to her. I know for a fact that I'll regret things later down the line if I do. This is what happens when you learn the circumstances behind someone's death.
子供なのは間違いないと思うやっぱり子供の将来かな
The book doesn't react. Playing the guessing game won't get us anywhere.
子供私も子供は関係あると思いますもう一度
Oh, damn
病
it.
院に行ってみましょう
Well, this is a new area. It's 211. I should probably get, yeah, this is a good enough place to stop. Let's look at we have the cause of death. You're gone, you're gone. Oh wait, those. Yeah, so, we're getting into some heavy stuff, and it's really scary. I am morbidly excited for this next Sunday, where I'm pretty sure Rinka is going to elect, Keiko. This is the right course of action, because we don't want our protagonist to not do anything before the end. That's dumb and makes for a weak protagonist, like, structurally weak. And also, this allows her to find out about the whole experiencing the death of the other person thing. I cannot wait for her reaction to that. Ugh. Okay. So. Anyway. That being said, now, obviously I do not stream on weekends. Saturday and Sunday there won't be any streams, but we will be back with probably this game again on Monday. Just to remind, I'll do another reminder then also that, there'll be a minor break where I stop and restart the stream at the 1 hour mark next Monday, so that I don't have to put up a 2-hour video on YouTube, because it's kind of just annoying. Just a little bit. An hour is good. And also sometimes I will want to play a different game at the hour mark. So like, what if on Monday after an hour into the stream, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to put Fatal 12 on pause for now, and I want to play the next game, because it's entirely possible. So I can't put both of them up, so I'm gonna have to split it, and stopping and restarting the stream is kind of the only way I can do it. So I hope that's okay, but also there's one person here, so I'm going to assume that you're good with it and just do what I need to do. Do what needs to be done. Much like Rinka has to do what needs to be done. So, anyway, yeah, so this has been Fatal 12. I've been Calypso, aka Mint Carousel, and I'm signing off. Have a wonderful rest of your day.